Yo everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're just going to be going through the weekend of matches that just happened for the CDL Major 1 qualifiers. I believe we have one more week left before the first major. Just going to be giving my thoughts, kind of the, just overall the teams, the way they played, this and that. Shout out to Breaking Point because their website is probably the best right now at actually looking at CDL stats, all that good stuff. They also have a fantasy section. Just, yeah, shout out to them, man. I think they do a great job. I just want to give credit where credit's due because you can see everything. You can see the stats, MVP, everything, man. It's just, it's really nice to have a website like this that's very professional, and yeah, I just want to give credit. So starting off with the first match, kind of going through the Friday, and I think this is the record now, like after their season and stuff, in terms of where we are now. But anyways, we go through and we had LAG versus Cloud9 with a big 3-0 in the map. And honestly, before this map, I was looking at this as like, they both needed a win, and I think both teams, like whoever lost, was going to look really bad. But I thought it'd be a close one, to be honest. It'll be a 3-2, 3-1. I honestly didn't know who I had. I can't even remember who I predicted, but looking at this series, it was relatively close in terms of each map, but you just got to close one out. You just got to close one out for Cloud9. I believe, if I remember correctly, because obviously we're Monday now, it's been a few days, but I believe this Hacienda, I'm pretty sure they got reverse swept in it. I'm pretty sure they were 2 up or something. I can't remember. But regardless, looking at the stats here, and for me, man, I'm not going to keep saying it, but Sib, bro, I think Sib just needs to step up. Like, just become him, bro. I want to see him be like the ghosty from last year on this roster. Like, I'm looking at it, he got the most damage in the roster, but he's just not converting those kills. Obviously not KD's not everything, but I need to see Sib step it up. On the other side of it, I think Linz is their best player, but I'm very happy that Priest had the series he did today, because they just need to help Linz out a bit more, man. This team, it's got potential, but they just need to help out Linz a little bit more. Priest is starting to do better. Again, for me, just comes down to consistency, but both teams were pretty poor leading into this, and this does not look good for Cloud9. Does not look good at all. But we're going to kind of go through the games, not spend too long on them, just so we can kind of get through all of them, because there's a lot to go through. Then we have Vegas Falcons versus OpticTexas, and that's right, Vegas do win a map. They win the S&D. They make the Hacienda kind of close. The hard points weren't really that close, in my opinion, and yeah. Okay, my mic did cut off. I do apologize. But yeah, what I was saying is, I don't know how much of that went, but I was saying they won the hard points fairly convincingly. They lost the S&D, which has been their issue for a few of the days here, I'm not going to lie. They went on a bit of a really good S&D win streak to an S&D loss streak, so definitely kind of a flip-flop mode for them now. And then the control for Hacienda was fairly close, but overall, I think they just did a really good job closing it out. I mean, Falcons' problem is just they're not playing the game correctly. I think people speak about that a lot on the flank. They're not playing the game correctly. I think Exin is a fantastic player. When Kicks comes back, I think they could definitely start to work towards something, but right now there's just a clear skill gap, clear kind of knowledge gap, and I don't see these guys winning a respawn for a while, man. And I think it's kind of tough on them. Every week that goes by, it's going to be more and more tough. The confidence is going to be lower and lower, but I really love them in the scene, man. If you guys seen on Twitter and stuff, just the way the Falcons are, they're willing to cover the cost for the Optic, for the CDL, for the Challenger series. They're putting on this just 8s for the week for money, for Challenger pros and stuff like that. And like, they're doing what they can, man. They really are trying to like show that they're not here just to throw their money around and just be in the league. Like, they really are trying to show their love for the esports and help out, and I have to give credit, man. I really like them in the league, but I would love for them to be more competitive. I would love for them to be maybe a top team where they're throwing the cash around, right? You look at Warzone scene, they've got Hisoka, Shifty and Biffle. They've got the best team possible. I would love if this Vegas Falcons teams came in with the cash and just said, we're getting the best roster, but I think we're still early on. I think people are kind of rushing to it. Like, I think they have to give their home team some time, and then hopefully it comes to a point where they start developing some talent. They start using maybe Exit and Kicks and start maybe blending them in with some US talent, some some homegrown players that are maybe better in the game, and just start to make an actual super team. Who knows in the next year, maybe they start to become a super team. Maybe the first year they're trying to just kind of get their players, give them a chance, and then from there, I mean, they got Clayster, right, which is definitely a good start. They got an NA coach, somebody who's been around for a decade. Maybe next year they give him the keys, they give him a year, say, right, this is your team, do what you want. Who knows, we'll see. But who on the other side, fantastic fantastic. Shot team doing fantastic. Dashi and Kenny also positive. Overall, just great slaying ability from Optic. Hook has been really good. Hook has been really good. But I'm not gonna look too into this KD because I do think the hard points were just, you know, kind of a blowout. I know it doesn't look like a blowout, but 100 points in a hard point is comfortable. It's a blowout. If you guys play, you know it's a very comfortable team. And yeah, nothing crazy about that series. We can move on to the new one. Rocker versus Toronto Ultra. I'm not gonna lie, there's something about this Rocker team, bro. They just have something in it where I know they're 2-4, but they've been playing well, man. They've been playing well. They've been taking team to the series, to the distance. Again, I don't really want to be too negative here, but Paul X just had to step it up. You look at this series, like having the lowest damage and then having 30 less kills than his teammate. He just simply has to step it up. It was very simple. I said, the team is good. I believe when I look at this team, I think there's 4 players that have potential, but I don't see all of them playing at the same time. Now, what I didn't expect is the teamwork. The teamwork on this team is fantastic. If I'm the roster, I know it's a bit harsh. I'm really looking at bringing someone like Illy for Paul X. I just think Illy will help in the S&D. Good teamwork oriented games. I just think having Illy will be a really good piece of the puzzle. Get rid of Paul for Illy. I think you're chilling, in my opinion. I think that's the next move. Who knows if they'll do it? That's the way I look at it. But overall, man, I gotta give credit to the team. I think they're playing really well. I have expected a bit more from Gio. Just overall, I thought Gio, in my opinion, should be the best player in this team for a pure talent basis. But they all got potential. Like Nero has probably been their best player with Estriel, and Gio and Paul have been struggling a little bit more. I think maybe it's just the way the game is right now for them. The SMGs are doing better. Who knows? But I definitely expect them to step up a little bit. I expect Gio to be that kind of, you know, takeover player, and Nero and Estriel have been doing really good. I know Nero went negative this series, but for me, he's been their best player, and Estriel kind of, you know, he put them on the back this series with a fantastic performance. They got grit to them, man. They got grit. You see, they won, you know, they won a fantastic map 2, fantastic map 4. But for me, like, I don't know how you win 6-2 in the map 2 and then lose 6-0 in the map 5. It just, you know, maybe it's a map difference, whatever it is, but definitely can't be losing that map 5. I don't mind losing to Toronto. They beat them 3-2 in the minor, but you know, Toronto are a very good team. But you know, to lose like that 6-0 in the last map, definitely not great. But then we move on. That's Friday, I believe, done. Then we move on to Saturday. The first game on, we have Vancouver versus Vegas Falcons. I just don't, this Vancouver team for me, to be honest, is I really like 04. I like Abuza. I don't mind Nasty and Hixie. I think they're good kind of rotational plays, but I just don't see this team as they don't have that firepower for me. Again, it's just an okay team. I look at this. And like, I look at this team and I'm like, for me personally, I feel like they should be near Rocker. Like, I look at Rocker's team and I'm like, they're just having really good teamwork. So the way I looked at this roster before the season was like, you know, 04 Abuza, I think they're staples to the team. You got Hixie and Nasty, and you just, you know, try to get the best out of them and just see whoever doesn't do well. Maybe we go to the pit, pick them up, pick up the better players, right? Kind of have a little rotation. But for me, I look at this and I'm like, their teamwork isn't matching the other levels. They don't have this slaying ability to not have good teamwork. You see what I'm saying? They have to have good teamwork. However, I want to see how this team plays on LAN, because I know they're in Vancouver, and normally the Seattle teams, they just don't play too well on LAN because of a connection thing. So I am waiting to see what they have on LAN. And for me, bro, you can't count out a team with a boozer. This guy is so good, in my opinion. I just think you build around him, you keep upgrading the team until you get to a point you're happy with, man. I think this guy's an absolute insane player, and you know, I just think they keep building around a boozer and literally just wait and see what happens. That's what it comes down to for me. But that same thing with Falcons, exact same thing. You see Falcons still the S&D, lose the respawns. I do think the map 1 was kind of close. Map 2, okay. Map 3, not too much. But for me, again, you're looking at the team. Exton's doing well. I just think they got to wait for kicks to come back. Hopefully that's sooner, as soon as possible. And then they really got to tune into those hard points and see if they can steal one. Because I got to say, they've been doing their thing in S&D, man. That's 2 S&D wins in a row. I know they're 0-6, but again, those S&Ds are definitely important. Keep that as a consistent game mode, and you never know what could happen in the series. Then we go through to the next series of the Saturday, Cloud9 versus Miami. Again, Cloud9, they just need a bounce back. After what we saw, they just need a bounce back. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get it. They weren't able to get the bounce back, and I think they really needed it. And again, it's just unfortunate they're not able to kind of close those games down. And like we said, like, we just looked down at the scoreboard, and now they're slaying a bit better, but Miami, I just think Cloud9 need to be beating Miami. I look at this team and like, they need to be beating Miami. Yes, they won the control, everything else is too close. They lost both S&Ds. If you're going to lose both S&Ds to Miami, who I believe are one of the worst S&D teams in the league, you're going to have problems. I just need more consistency from this team. They got so much talent and they're letting it go away, like just stupid games in my opinion. They're losing against people they should be beating. And again, I look at this, I'm like, I'm not really impressed with Miami right now. I think their S&D has been really bad, and somehow they pulled 2 wins out of S&D. So, you know, I don't know what to say about that one, but Cloud9, they just got to sort it out. They really do before the major. Boston Breach versus Carolina. Wow, wow, wow. For me, series of the weekend, besides the Optic Thieves series, because that was obviously series of the year so far for me, but Boston have been unbelievable. They've been some of my favorite Call of Duty to watch. And this man, Mr. Purge, 1.27 KD. Purge was on an absolute tear. I believe he got, if I go to the vault, bro, the guy went 45 and 20. The guy went 45 and 20. Then he went 9 and 6. Bro, the guy was cooking. The guy was on an absolute tear. Again, shout out to Breaking Point. Look how smooth they've made the overall thing. But yeah, bro, this guy was cooking. He was cooking. I look at this on the other side. Slash had a rough one, you know, 69 kills, not really putting up enough damage in my opinion. I don't like when an AR player just has like 3,000 less damage than everyone else. I know there's obviously more to it, spawns, locking out lanes, this and that, but I still don't love my AR players having that low damage. Like when Insight loses and he has like 2,000 less damage, I'm like, you know, I feel like there's something about that. I think there's something about that to it. But overall, I look at that series, close Hacienda once again. I think Hacienda can be a really kind of mixy map. I've seen it play out so much this weekend. I honestly expected it to not be played at all. I've seen it about 6 times, which is kind of crazy. So I think Protocol's the one. I think now that we have a third map in control, which is still a shit map, don't get me wrong, I think having an extra map does make for a little bit more creativity and control, where map vetoes can be a little bit more tactical. So although the map pools aren't good for control, I do like that we're getting a bit more variety and not just Vault every single series. That's definitely a good thing. And yeah, overall, I just think, for me, it really came down to that map 1. I think them kind of winning that Skyline, which, you know, was a mixy map. And then map 4, they just got absolutely fried. So, you know, just winning 2 hard points in a row against this team, winning all the respawns, I was very, very impressed by. I do believe if we went to a map 5, it still would have been anyone's game, because Boston are still no slack in S&D. They're still a good S&D team. So I think Boston right now, just keep the confidence up, keep the momentum, playing some really good Call of Duty. And I'm just very impressed by them, you know. Even right now, you look at the ARs, like, you know, we did good, but Awakening didn't have a great series, and the other boys just put them on his back. I think, you know, you just, as a team, they're playing really well. In terms of Boston, fantastic. In terms of Ravens, they've done really well as well to get to this point where both teams are 4-1. I think they've done really good. Sorry, I don't look at this as Ravens like, oh, what's going on? Like, bro, they just lost in the finals in the minor. They're 4-1. It's okay. Yes, they lost 2 series in a row, but against 2 good teams. Keep your head up. See what you did differently at the start. See where you're maybe slacking a little bit. Keep your head in the game. Keep going. I think they're both in a very good spot. LAG versus Toronto. I expected a 3-0 from the boys over in Toronto. They did lose the control. Besides that, it was fairly simple. I do see the Skyline go the distance, so it could have went to map 5, but even at the S&D, like, they absolutely pieced them. I actually watched the S&D live and I was like, what is going on, bro? Map 1, I know it says 250 to 180, but I did feel like Toronto were in control. I just don't think this was I think this team, I looked at and I was like, you know, I just think they're going to fry them. I really did. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, Insight going 61 and 80 is a pretty poor series, and they still won. Like, Joe was absolutely tearing the part. Like, I just think this team has got so much fundamental teamwork. They got so much talent. I'm really, really high on the Toronto Ultra team. I know people are going to say they should be a top 3, top 4 team, but I still don't think they're a top 3 team. I think the other team just have a bit more to them. But I think right now they're cementing themselves at 4th place. Again, I know it's unfair to say because their record's so good, but, you know, I still think that the other 3 teams will just have a slightly better talent kind of pool than them, but we'll see when they match up against them. They got Optic next week for seed 1, which would be a massive game. But yeah, overall, again, from the other team, like, it's not like one player got shit on, but Pre-start under 9k damage, yes, he went positive. Then you had Skies, who had almost 10k, but he went negative, and then they're kind of neutral. And, you know, this team just needs a bit more, man. I look at the maps again. Yes, the hard points were kind of close, but you lost both your hard points. You lost your S&D. You only won the control. It's just not good enough. 1 and 5, they definitely need to work something out, because right now they're just not playing good Call of Duty, and it's showing by the record. Then we had an absolute banger of a series. Wow. A red carpet from the boys at Thieves. everyone going negative. Then you have all the both ARs from the Optic going negative, both SMGs having an absolute clinical performance, but the one stat that matters is the W on the board. Now Optic 5-1, Thieves 4-1, S&D masterclass from LA Thieves in map 2, LA Thieves masterclass from LA Thieves in map 5, up to, I would say, the 7th round, and then we saw round after round after round after round from OpticTexas. The hard points were scrappy from map 4, you know, it went down to the wire. I think anyone could have won it. Optic had a fantastic P2 to P3 transition. I think the map 4 was really interesting, but Thieves should have won this series. Thieves should have won this series. They were 5-1 up in the S&D, and they trolled this. We could have literally sat here now saying Optic need to work on their S&D. Now I do think this was a plaster over the wall. I do believe they need to still work on their S&D. Optic, their hard point looks better, but their S&D were bad today. I say bad, obviously they won the map, but that was more Thieves, I would say, lack of change than anything. Obviously Optic had to perform, really good ice out of them. I'd love to see it, but you know, you can't go 5-1 down and expect to win a map. So there's kind of both sides to that puzzle, I would say. But overall, man, really fun series to watch. Map 1, Scrap got 5-6 kills, so I can't even take this map seriously. They legit played 3v4. I've never seen anything like it. He's an unbelievable player. 1 in 1,000 series from him. Hook went 22-9. The guy was starting off, I believe he was like, I think he was like, I can't remember what he was, but I remember him starting off, he wasn't doing too good. I remember watching on the Scump Watch Party and they were like, why is this guy using an AR? And he just pulls out a sub and just started ripping. So Hook was on an absolute tear. And yeah, overall, man, really good series. I don't look at it too much in terms of, like, bro, like, I think Thieves should win this. They just trolled the end so bad. So as an Optic fan, obviously I'm happy they won, but, you know, it was a nice series to win, but we kind of stole it. They really messed up that S&D. It's like they literally gave it to us. So fair play, good game, really good series. Control, again, I know it's 3-1, but that was kind of anyone's game. I think the control was a swing, and it was interesting, you know. Both teams, sorry, no, not both teams. Optic won both hard points. Thieves should have won both searches, and then it would have come down to the control. So I do look at this like that. I actually thought it would be maybe the other way around. I thought Optic might win the S&Ds. Thieves probably win the hard points. So I am glad that Optic were able to win those hard points, because I think Thieves were the best HP team in the game. So definitely just got to work on the S&D a little bit. But you're seeing them, they're playing S&D 8s all the time. S&D is one of those games as well where I feel like, you know, they come through stages where they're just really good at S&D for a few days, and then sometimes they're really bad. So it's still early in the season. So I want to see them clean up a little bit. Control, I mean, it's just a weird game mode, bro. It really is. I see the vetoes for this. I'm interested in the vetoes. So if we look at the vetoes, you can see that Thieves banned Protocol, Optic banned Red Card. Thieves actually picked Hacienda, so they got actually cooked on that, and Optic picked Skyline. Then you look at the S&D, so Optic picked Volt, and you can straight away see Thieves actually banned Protocol on both. So Thieves are just not happy with Protocol. They go through, you see Optic actually picked the Red Card, which they actually lost in, and then Hacienda, they ended up beating them in. So kind of interesting. In terms of the map 3, it doesn't show what they vetoed for the control, but, you know, it looked like, I don't really know what they vetoed. But anyways, yeah, that was that series. Fantastic series of the weekend by far. Then we go through to Rock Up versus FaZe. And Rock, bro, the map 1, I'm not gonna lie, really impressed me, because they had 2 people go negative. Bro, Gio went 13-24 and Paulus went 14-21, and they managed to win that. I thought it was really impressive stuff. It was just, again, a skill difference for me. Like, you look at this game here, and this was just 4 players from FaZe playing good Call of Duty, putting out damage, winning their gunfights against a struggling Rocket team. You had 3 people negative. Paul X going -35. Again, rough one. Definitely going to be lacking confidence, you know, which I feel bad for him, man. He's a good player. Just, you know, definitely some confidence back. I think the control was embarrassing. If I look at the stat, I think the control, yeah, they got absolutely ripped in the control. And then from there, it was just game over. Game 1, they go through, they get some momentum, they lose the game 2, and then it's game over. I think FaZe is such a momentum heavy team sometimes. Like, you see them actually, like, a lot of time I'm watching FaZe, like, I feel like they win maps in a row. Like they lost this map, then they win 3 in a row. I don't see them normally win a map, lose a map, then win 2. Like, most of the time they win a map and they just carry on sweeping people. They have lost quite a few map 1s though. They have lost quite a few map 1s. So if you can get at this team in the map 1, if you can get at them, win the map 1, and actually give them a difficult S&D, you know, you're giving yourself a really good chance. But right now the S&D is kind of keeping them in it, and then most of the time they turn up for the control and they turn up for the hard point. They did the exact same thing in the minor against Miami. They were down 1-0, they won 3 in a row. They keep doing this thing where, you know, they go down and they just get some momentum. They get some momentum, they start cooking people. But overall, I think, you know, great performance from FaZe. Let's have a quick look at the table. Let's have a look at the table standings. Let's check it out. there you go. So you can see phase 2 of everything to play for. Phase 2 of everything to play for, only having 20 CDL points. You got Cloud9 and stuff. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. I am kind of excited to see what happens the next week. We are going to do a prediction video now for tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys for another one tomorrow. Peace.